And it's great for parents to be able to say, no, let's chill with each other. Yeah, I know they're going to give you pushback because they want the excitement and the stimulation of other friends being around. Right. Or they're going to get on their phone, and even though the friends aren't there, the friends will be there.
Right.
But it's great to be able to say, no, let's hang together. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Family Business with the Alessis. I'm Steve Alessi and I'm here with Mary Alessi.
It's good to be back.
It is. This is the start of a brand new season.
This is exciting.
We have done very well on our podcast, but today we start season number 6. And this is pretty exciting. We have over 130 episodes.
Yeah.
120
episodes. Yes.
Pretty much already recorded. And interestingly, Alan Paul was letting us know that the average podcast is only 7 episodes in, and then they quit recording it.
Right.
Babe, we've done over 120.
And we're in the top 2%, I think.
Worldwide
of podcasts, just because we've hung in there.
We
have a lot to say.
Well, the tagline is 2 parts. Ready? One, the family business podcast. It's important because family's everybody's business.
Right.
And the second is because we're pastors, we're talking about things here that we can't talk about on Sundays. So we do have a lot to talk about.
And we have 4 kids and 2 in-law kids who help us at certain times. They'll come in the studio and they help us. So we've all got lots to say. We're a bunch of talkers in this family.
As of this recording, we have 2 healthy breathing out of the womb grandchildren and 1 healthy breathing in the womb on the way.
One on the way. By Christmas of 2023, we will have 3 grandchildren. It went from 2020 to 2023. We had 2 kids married and 3 grandbabies.
Wow.
That's how fast life can change on you.
Life's good.
Life is the sweetest I think it's ever been.
Okay, so as we start this podcast, this particular episode, we want to thank everybody for dialing in, staying with us, listening in. We've got over 1,000 subscribers right now. We want to ask you to go out and continue to promote what the Family Business Podcast is doing for you. Let your friends know about it. Let your family know. Share this with others. Get them to go ahead and sign up and join us and be a part of it.
And thank you. Just thank you for subscribing.
Yeah, doing that. So be a subscriber with us, and let's just continue to get the podcast out there. We want to help and encourage as many people as possible, whether they are members of this church family that Mary and I are blessed to be able to pastor, or you've got friends, you've got your own community out there. And this is just something about the family that's helping you. Because what we have learned in your responses has been, this is cool, Mary, that a lot of you are interested in dealing with conflicts in the family.
Right.
Because we live in such a conflicted culture today. Everything is so fighting. It's infighting. It's going after somebody who's messed up. I mean, I heard the other day that Tesla owners are getting upset and they don't want to buy Teslas anymore, all because they don't like Elon Musk.
Oh, brother.
And because his views have become whatever they are, and he's put them out there more, talking about his personal views. Now people are saying, forget Teslas, I'm not going to get a Tesla anymore. Now, it just so happens to be, and that, by the way, I say all that to say that's just the result of the cancel culture.
It is.
That's how far it goes. That you're willing to not buy a beautiful car that you like, all because you don't like the president or founder of the organization.
Yeah.
Imagine if we did that with all the other brands. I mean, we wouldn't have Apple.
No.
Because Steve Jobs was a little out there. And if you got upset with that and they're very liberal in their approach, what would you do? Not buy an Apple? So it just shows you how radical people are today.
In conflict. Yes.
And why talking about family issues and how we resolve them, deal with them, even our own conflicts, and setting up boundaries and how important that is, it resonates because we're right there. And you can live this life and still enjoy your life. You don't have to get caught up in all the chaos.
Well, I think we're also, we say we're a cancel culture. We are an opinionated culture. we told ourselves over the last 10 years with social media that we all have an opinion and we have a right to say it. We are not the humble generation. We all think that because we have a platform and a microphone with our phones, that we have a right to say what we think, and we haven't even vetted what we think. We don't even know what we're talking about.
Right.
And so, that trickles down to our relationships. So it has to. That's real world problems in your home, in your family. And that we've seen with our podcasts, the top 3 listened to are the ones that deal with toxic family members and relationships, how to manage those. And maybe we need to talk even more about that again in the future. I know we've been asked to, because that is definitely a very difficult topic. And if you've got a family member, just one that's toxic, they can ruin every holiday, every time the family's trying to get together, and just overall bring so much stress. And we're finding it more and more because I think of the culture we live in. We are not by nature more principled, whether you're Christian or not, to say, I need to bring something to my family and not always bring conflict to my family. It's our right to do that now, because we're going to say what we want to say, because we have an opinion, and who are they to tell us, and this is what I believe, instead of going, this is what I believe, but I'm not going to bring conflict to my family. I'm going to bring respect because my boomer parents don't agree with that.
Right.
But no, it's just whatever you think, whatever you believe, you have a right to say, and that's wrong.
Yep. Well, big shout out to the staff. They've created a new layout in our podcast
We have a
booth.
new set.
Now it feels like it's a podcast living room. We're
I love
sitting
it.
here. We got our coffee, and Alan Paul made our coffee. What are they?
Coasters.
Coasters. Coffee
Really
coasters.
cool family
really
coasters.
Cool. Look at that.
Which do we sell these, right?
No, they were made.
We do not sell them. Do not ask for them. I'm sorry.
So nice, warm atmosphere here with our coffee and being able to talk. Interestingly, we're going to get into talking about our summer for a minute, but before we do, here's what I'd like our audience to know about. We're moving into a new season, and there's some great topics we're going to hit.
Yeah.
One of them, I like this. It's helping navigate the seasons of the solo nesters of our parents.
Right.
Our parents getting older. All the kids are out of the house, even their adult kids and grandkids. They all have their own little life. How do we help mom and dad, our parents, the grandparents? How do we help them and take care of them? And it's so interesting because...
You mean like our elderly parents?
Yeah.
Good.
And
we need to talk about that because we're right in the middle of that.
Right in the middle. I was just showing you text before we started about...
I'm getting texts from her too right
your
now.
mom sending me pictures.
sweet mother.
She's in the middle of a new building project in her backyard with her
Just tell her, get your own
jacuzzi.
husband.
No, stop it. She tried. She went through 2. What are you talking about?
Steve.
Wow. And so that's good. We're going to be talking about that because we are in a generation where the grandparents
Right.
are
Yes.
older, and thank God they're around. And today happens to be the 60th anniversary of my mom and dad's marriage. Actually, I think it's 66 anniversary of my mom and dad's
My
marriage.
goodness.
And of course, dad passed a couple of years ago. So what did I do today to make sure mom's taken care of as she woke up knowing, hey, the man that she spent all those years with is no longer there.
Yeah,
so
it's tough.
besides sending her plant, which we did to
Nice.
help green up her place, what else are we doing to help during these seasons
Right.
for our parents? So that's good. It's also when we're going to be talking about how to juggle grandparenting with our own parenting. Because we have our kids that we want to spend time with and their kids now, our grandchildren. And how do we then bring the grandparents into that whole scenario?
Who are becoming a little bit like kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you want them, when you're around them, you want them to have as much attention as possible.
Yeah. It's tough.
But you've got kids that now get all the attention on their kids, the grandkids.
Right.
So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about how anxiety and depression affect children. You know, we're in a different world today where that is becoming more, you see it happening more and more.
But I want to say something to that
Yeah.
really quick because I recently did that crypto chamber thing where you go in and it's like an ice room and you go in for 3 minutes and it helps you. And the technician in there was telling me that many of their clients are children who deal with anxiety issues.
No way.
And they put them in there to help bring down their anxiety to get them off medication. I couldn't imagine because it was so cold. I was like, I can't handle it. But she said, no, a lot of their clients are. So that's a big issue today. Parents are looking for natural, holistic remedies for their children with anxiety and find out what's the root cause of that.
Yeah, we'll be talking about how to control your emotions during a difficult conversation.
Yeah.
We talk about hammer it out. You got to get together and work it out. Well, how does that happen and not allow your emotions to get caught up
And
in
lose it.
Hey, we're going to be talking about this. This is a forgotten word and issue in our society today, and it's modesty.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Come on, we've raised 3 daughters.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And all of them protect themselves at all times.
Yeah.
Modesty, we'll be talking about that. How about financially supporting parents, grandparents, when you're teaching kids enough is enough in life, and your adult kids,
where does the
helping
money
them.
go to the family members?
And I think Stephanie said it so well. She's like, our first year of marriage, you feel like, okay, now that you're married, you got to go to Europe.
Right.
Man, it took us 10 years to get to Europe.
Right.
More. Because we had to
More.
save our money, and instead of renting, we
were of the generation that European trips were what you did when you retired.
Yeah.
You had to wait till you retired, or like a 25th wedding anniversary for anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's not the case anymore.
No, they're doing it as young as they can and put it out
right
there
away.
on social media.
Like they're all going to die.
They don't have
if they
enough
don't-
money
I know.
to buy a house.
It's true.
We'll be looking at some cultural issues like abortion.
Yeah.
And you and your sister were able to film a great couple of podcasts on that. Plus, we have a young lady, Christina
Martinez Squires.
David and Maury Martinez's daughter, who is an attorney, and the Lord just put her in the right place to help with what's happening in that environment. So we have that we'll be talking about. We'll talk about balancing of your kids, their hobbies, school, their sports, and making sure as a parent we're not living through them.
Yeah.
Hey, how about manners? We'll actually talk about manners.
We are going to talk about manners. That's good.
Yeah, this will be a good one. So
Good. Respect.
Money, we talked
Good.
about that. Conflicts with parents that have conflicts and conflicting kids, that relationship, how to resolve it. And just even asking some of you to send us your questions, constantly sending us your questions, because we want to be able
us to talk about.
answer some of the questions that you have. So there's some things that are out there in this coming season that we're pretty excited about that'll lead us into the holidays, and the holidays are always fun. But Mary, let's talk about our summer. We've just come out of the summer.
Yeah.
What do you remember about this summer?
Oh, my God. I'm trying to remember all that we did because we did so much that it all becomes a jumbled mess. But we had a grandson. He came 2 weeks early. We were not prepared. And we had a grandson. Rochelle, our daughter-in-law, was just such a trooper and a hero and pushed that baby out. And he's the cutest thing. And Christopher has lost his mind. Our son is not who he was before because he has this little boy now that has just stolen his heart. And he and Rochelle are doing such a great job. So that's fun to watch that. It's also fun to watch Stephanie be pregnant again with her second baby, who is also a little boy. And then, of course, Gianna is just the center of all of our lives because she's saying our names and finding who her favorites are and using us all. And we love it. We love every minute of it. But we've done a lot.
You had a dream about her the other day, actually talking to you.
I had a dream that she looked up at me. I was eating ice cream and she goes, Mia, can I have some? And I almost fell out of my chair. I mean, she's 15 months, 16 months, and she's right there.
Yep.
So that's really fun. And to just see the family continue to grow. We're in a remodel. We've been remodeling all our
of our
properties.
Yep.
And that has been, we both have thrown our backs out. I overcame a fractured, what do you call it? Humerus bone. It wasn't funny. Ha ha, bump. And we've shown our age in the summer too.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot. What else?
My back situation happened like in February, so I didn't show my age this summer.
Well, this year then, how about that?
How that? Yeah.
Mine all happened at one time.
My gosh.
The day you released your 42 book, that day, we were all in the office filming it, opening the boxes. I walked out. I was on the phone with my doctor, tripped on my shoe, slammed into a wall, and fractured my humerus. And it took me like 12 weeks to recover. So just in time for little Marino to be born, which, by the way, our son and daughter-in-law named their son Marino. I'll let you guess why. So just
32, 49.
yes,
Set.
he's a cutie pie.
Yeah.
So it's just been extremely eventful.
Well, you mentioned the housing situation. We have been on or in hotels for the last 2.5 months, going on 3 months
3
soon.
months now.
And we used all of our Marriott Bonvoy
Went through
miles
all of them.
and some American Express miles.
All of
those things we have pretty much eaten up. But that, you know what? Here's something that happened, and I think this happens in life, okay? That you have so many challenges that go on. So during the summer, you're supposed to relax, right? From
Right.
Memorial Day to Labor Day, that's when you can wear white, because after Labor Day, you can't wear white anymore.
I'm wearing white pants.
And then you pack in a lot of your getaway time, hopefully memory-making time,
Right.
like the Bernaldo family.
Like they do it right.
They vacation right, and then they
Yes.
come back and just makes you feel like, man, I'm a loser when it comes to vacation planning. They're amazing at it. But you're supposed to do that during the summer, right? And then you do it during the summer, and it's like any other high that goes on in your life, like graduation, for instance, for young kids. They graduate from college or high school, and then they immediately get caught up in the next season. The problem with getting caught up in your next season is you miss out on the memories and making that season that you just walked out of. You miss out on keeping that alive because something else gets your attention.
Exactly.
So, for instance, I'm looking at my photo feed a little bit ago, and I'm just dealing with all the challenges that come up with our job and our home, because we don't have a place to go home to. I'm wearing the same underwear like 3 days in a row because I don't have a washing machine, and I only have so many underwear that I have on me and packed away. So we're living out of suitcases. And I'm going through my photo feed of all the different things that we're dealing with. And doggone it, the baby's picture showed up. Marino's birth showed up. And I had for a minute to actually ask myself, that happened this summer?
I know.
Crazy, Mary.
I know.
That something so beautiful that only happens once in that kid's lifetime.
Yeah, it's so memorable for all of us.
So memorable for Rochelle and Christopher and the whole family.
Yeah.
That could be overshadowed by some of the challenges that you face.
It's so true.
And I think today's podcast needs to be this. How do we capture those memories that we made over the summer, those experiences, and not let them drift away because of some of the present issues we could be dealing with?
Yeah. And that's really easy to do because we just, my mother used to say to us all the time, you're burning the candle at both ends. You're burning the candle at both ends. And, I thought that was something that you only do when you're young. But man, it can be something, it's a habit that if you don't break it, you're always just taking on more and more and more and not stopping along the way to process and to really take in all the good things that have happened. And it's so easy to do because we set our expectation so high of things we think we need to achieve or we need to get done, that the important stuff that mattered more is lost. And I'm glad you said that about the baby because it's not easy juggling this season with so much on our plates, with, adult kids, 2 living at the house, 2 married, 2 grandkids coming, with the pressures of the church, even this podcast, even keeping up with this podcast. But I think one of the things that helps us slow down is recognition of that, is stopping and going, wait a minute, that matters more than this. Making sure that our grandson, our firstborn grandson, our namesake, we give not just time and attention, but we stop and we really take in the moment.
Yeah.
And not run off to the very next thing. We leave the hospital and running off to the next thing. And I think we're all prone to do that. And I hate to use the word selfish because it doesn't seem like it's selfish, but it kind of is because we're not stopping and thinking about what matters the most right now. What matters the most is that we gave so much time and attention to Chris and Stephanie when they had Gianna. We need to do the same with now Marino and Christopher and Rochelle. This is important. It's where the value of our family is, not all these other things. And we have to remind each other all the time.
Yeah.
And not get defensive of it, and certainly not put it on the back burner of, well, I've got my life and I've got this. No, we are all about the Alessi family.
Yeah.
That's our core value. And so we have to stop and make sure that we appreciate the moments along the way.
The benefit of getting older is wisdom.
Right.
Wisdom looks at what happens over the past and
Yes.
learns from the mistakes of yesterday.
Absolutely.
And so on, right?
Yeah.
And wisdom would tell us as we get older, which should kick in, is that you have an on and off switch.
Right.
You need to know when to turn the switch on, and then you need to know when to turn it off.
Turn it off. Absolutely.
And here we were so caught up in some great memories over the summer because we were able to get away and we were able to do some things local. But to think that those would be the on switch that kept my attention so focused on those things that
Right.
I almost forgot
Right.
that we had a baby,
I know.
an Alessi namesake
I know.
at the beginning of the summer.
Right.
And the way that all worked out, I mean, it jumped up on us. The kids were supposed to go 2 more weeks, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
Sunday morning, we're getting ready for work, for church, and he calls you and says he's coming.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting the whole family to be at the hospital. We were so blessed with our church leadership. They stepped in. They let the whole family be there that morning. So that meant we didn't have to have our post covered
Right.
personally. We got somebody to cover it for us. And we were all there together. It was such a magic moment
Yeah.
for us. And yet,
It fades away
other
so
thing,
fast.
yes, fades away.
And we celebrated that moment so big. We all wore Marino jerseys,
Yeah.
and the staff at the hospital just
Were
couldn't believe
phenomenal.
it. We had such an incredible experience, and I'll let Chris and Rochelle share it. But even how God stepped in and just, it was just amazing. It was such
Yeah.
an incredible thing. And you think that will never leak out. You'll never forget. You will always tell that story. And it's incredible how the avalanche of stuff can come in your life right on the heels of that. And the thing that really brought you the most joy and the most significant thing in your life
Yeah,
is legacy. Can
really
get
is.
literally drowned in that avalanche of just stuff.
yeah. And baby, your kids are going to either make or break you.
Yeah.
They're either going to make you the happiest parents in the world, or they're going to break your heart. And if
Right.
they break your heart, you're
Well-
going to live with a ton of regret. So
Yeah.
we go through these summers.
Right.
Our listeners go through these summers. Let's not move too quickly into the next
Right.
and forget about all the fun
Right.
and memories. Look at those pictures on your phone again. Go ahead and print them. Put them in a frame. Put them somewhere so that you could go back and say, yeah, I remember that. That was beautiful.
One of the families in our church, they were here. We were working here at the church last night. They were gone for 2 months at their house in Georgia. And I said, how was it? Because they have 2 kids. So it's just the 4 of them.
Sure.
I said, how was the, 2 months away? And she goes, well, the first 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, family was there. We just in and out. All the different family members were coming and staying. And the last 3 weeks was just the 4 of them. And the 2 kids started to complain a little bit. Well, who's coming next? And the dad said to them, no. The most important thing is the 4 of us. You've got to learn to just be with us 4 and enjoy that and love that and cherish that. And I thought, that's a wise father to say that. More than they even realize now, because their kids are little. They don't even realize how wise that is.
Yeah.
To say, we can't create all this excitement and energy around you. You're going to get addicted to it. When the truth is, what matters the most is not the crowd. Mm-hmm. It's not the busy. It's not the next new fun thing. It's the settling in, being quiet, being with your, immediate family members, and just enjoying the precious memories that, as you said, when you get older, you get wiser. And we know now how fleeting it is, how fast it goes.
Yeah.
Cherish those moments.
Can I mention something right there about the brothers, the siblings? We went through a season of that. They needed outside
Right.
friends to be there. And what we tried to do was say then, wait a minute, because we saw it. They need to like hanging out with each other.
Absolutely.
They need to realize that those siblings that you're in relationship with, they're with you the rest of your life. Some of your
That's it.
friends and your kids' friends that they have today could be gone tomorrow.
That's right.
Maybe a parent gets transferred out of town and the kid moves, and that relationship isn't there regularly.
Right.
So you need to have that relationship with your siblings. And it's great for parents to be able to say, no, let's chill with each other. Yeah, I know they're going to give you pushback because they want the excitement and the stimulation of other friends being around. Or
Right.
they're going to get on their phone, and even though the friends aren't there, the friends will be there.
Right.
But it's great to be able to say, no, let's hang together. Go back and think about your summer experiences.
Right.
And recall and reflect on and keep them alive. Remind your kids,
So
talk
true.
about it.
It's very true.
Hey, it costs you money.
Right.
My gosh, just don't let the next thing come up that takes your attention away. It was a wonderful investment that you made in your family. Keep that in front of the family.
Even if you fought all summer with your kids,
Yeah.
because it was a hard one, make it the summer to remember. That's funny. Because I can tell you the times that we'd go on summer vacation with the six of us, and we'd end up in a family fight or something would happen. To this day, some of our favorite stories to talk about is the one we were floating down the Itchitutney River. Well, I'm not going to go into the details.
Yes.
I'll let the kids tell that. I'm sorry, I got to cross my leg this way. But that was one of the funniest memories.
God.
But as a family in that moment, I just wanted to pack up and go home.
Yeah.
And
I wanted to
sometimes
drown Stephanie.
you wanted to kill her.
So it was me and Stephanie.
It was really you and Steph, the two hotheads in the family. But now looking back, what we thought was ruined. Oh my God, it was ruined. It wasn't ruined. What we learned from those horrible arguments and fights and paying all this money for these trips, and now we're all mad at each other and don't even want to look at each other. Now looking back, and as time went on, I mean, we've told this story before, it turned out to be the most memorable because we laughed and laughed at how dumb we all acted, and we moved on from it. But so maybe you didn't have the best summer with your kids. It was a transitional one. Listen, when they start getting older and those hormones kick in, you won't forget those summers.
Yeah.
But make them funny
Yeah.
because you were together.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of people who don't have family, a nucleus of family,
Yeah.
mom, dad, and kids. You know, so many people are split up and they can't enjoy life like that. And that's really hard.
Yeah.
So if you have that, don't run so quickly away from the experiences you had this summer to jump back into your work or to jump back into your life or your own desires or your own dreams and career. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Because we know at this season of our life, what matters the most, what we value the most is not job, it's not career, it's not this podcast booth, it's our family.
Yeah.
It matters the most and our time spent with them.
When we were in our condo in Stewart a couple of weeks, or last week actually, sun was going down, it was getting dark, and I walked to the back of our unit because we're doing some work on it. And I'm looking at the glass and everything, and I'm looking at all the other units to what their back windows look like. I want to make sure ours matches and everything. And I came around and I got to where my mom's unit is. Now, Mom has a unit. She's 16. Ours is number 7. And it all surrounds the little deck, the pool, and all that. So when I'm in my backyard, I can look over and see her. And she didn't have her shutters up because she went through a whole remodel this summer as well at her place. And so she has nothing blocking seeing in. No shades, no curtains, no shutters. And it was just dark enough to where I could see into her room.
Oh, boy.
And into her living room. And she's on the second floor there. It's going to make me cry. And I'm looking at her, and she's by herself.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow. And I waited to see what she would do. And I just looked at her. And she sat there. She was on the couch, and she was watching TV. And I saw her hand move, so I thought, okay, she's awake. She's not napping. She's awake. But she was content.
Yeah.
And as kind of rocking as it was for me to think, oh, it's so sad she's alone. You know, she was content. And we know my mom, she loves being with us. She loves being around people. But she also loves her alone time.
She loves her alone time.
Her quiet time.
Absolutely,
She loves
does.
to read on her iPad. And she loves to binge all kinds of movies that she always tells us about. But looking at her alone up there, I thought, I want to be there one day where I'm content
Right.
with all the good that the Lord has provided in my life. And even if no one's around,
Yeah.
I'm not needing noise.
Right.
I'm not needing others
The
to
next
come
thing.
around.
Yeah.
I'm not needing that next thing.
Right.
And as we go through our lives, that becomes more and more important.
Yeah.
Because, baby, you just can't stay on that treadmill every day.
No.
And trying to make it happen.
No.
Trying to make the next gig possible.
We see how it's affecting a society.
Because you miss out on those special moments.
You do.
And you know what brings contentment? Is being able to look back over those special moments and say, those were great.
And remember them.
I love
Yes.
them. And reflect on
Yes.
them. And not let the stress and the pressure and the problems and the next thing
Right.
get your attention so much that you forget those were beautiful. And those beautiful moments added to me and my life. So it's important to reflect over what this summer meant to you and all your beautiful vacations or even the fights, and bring them to your kids' attention.
Right.
Make it dinner conversation. Be intentional. When you're in the car, hey, remember when we did that? Remember when we went to the beach? Remember when we pulled over and we ate at that restaurant? Bring those things back to remembrance so that even your kids are able to hold on to those special memories.
Yeah.
Because a new school year, new friends, all of that's going to pull them right out of it
Absolutely.
real quick. New problems, new peer pressure,
Absolutely.
new issues with grades. It's going to pull them right back out of that, and they'll forget about those special moments that were so unique to you and your family.
I agree. And
Good.
don't let all the busyness of life rob you from the things that matter the most, and that is the special times you have with each other.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode of The Family Business with the Alessis. Mary and I sitting here in our new podcast booth.
We love it.
Loving it with our coffee mugs, everything. Alessi Family Business. The only thing I'm missing here is an ashtray.
What?
Wow, it'd be great to be able to have a cigar
no.
right here. But she wouldn't let me do it because
No.
it'd stink up her hair. Thanks for joining and watching. Pass this on to others. If you love what you heard, love what you witnessed, go ahead and subscribe and then share this with your friends. Thanks for joining us.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, and click on the notifications bell so you can be notified for all of our future videos. And if you loved today's topic, we have plenty more. And you can click on this link right here to watch all of our videos so you can learn why family is everybody's business.